Want to see something funny? The farmer lobbyists got to him. Our great farmers and the people in the hotel and leisure business. A very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good, long-time workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. Lobbyists got to him. He had one meeting. In many cases, the criminals allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. This one only has 17,000 likes, which is funny. Normally he has way more. You can always tell who we talked to last. This is one of the few remaining actual ideological gulfs in the Trump administration, right? Which is that there are a lot of people who make a lot of money off of keeping things more or less stable, right? More or less the way they are. There are a lot of people with corporatist ties. There are a lot of people who benefit from the stock market, from international trade being left more or less undisrupted. There are people who want things to say basically the same, but like, you know, more MAGA. And then there are the oligarchs and people like Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller, I promise you this, I haven't talked to the guy, but I guarantee you, Stephen Miller does not, in fact, want very good, long-time immigrants from Honduras in America, even if they're working on farms. The idea of keeping a permanent economic and racial underclass of foreign workers on our farms is appealing not to people like Stephen Miller, but to people like Donald Trump, callous businessmen, you know, people who run farms, that kind of thing. They like that. People like Stephen Miller do not. There are a lot of Republicans who do not like messaging like this because it affirms a cynical thought they have long had. So Miller's a Nazi, right? What do Nazis think about illegal immigration? Or in their framework, they're thinking, well, why do Jews bring illegal immigrants in? You know, and some of that's great replacement stuff. Some of that's the Democrats want brown people to vote in their favor stuff. One of the big lines that they use, that they're fond of, is the idea that, well, it's economic interest, you know? Bringing immigrants in, it depreciates wages, which is, by the way, not true, but, you know, it allows businessmen to profit more. So in reality, immigration is just a consequence of the greedy taking advantage of the economic and social consequence of globalization, right? And for that reason, when Trump does stuff like this, they really, really, really don't like it. This is one of the only remaining real ideological rifts. The line basically being, do you hate brown people so much that you are willing to inconvenience wealthy people? Trump prefers the wealthy people. Miller would rather inconvenience everyone if it means getting rid of brown people.
Ventura County has thousands of farms, more than 2,000, maybe as many as 3,000 farms that look just like this. There are tens of thousands of farm workers that work at these farms every single day, and many, if not most of them, are undocumented immigrants. This is around the time that you would see a lot of workers out here. And today, it has been a virtual ghost town of workers.
That's our Jacob Soboroff reporting from farm fields in California's Ventura County last night, noting that many fields were empty amid fears of ICE raids targeting farm workers who tend them. New video showing several of those pursuits, agents chasing, even tackling one worker through the rows of crops as federal vehicles circled this field. In the sky above, NBC News spotting Customs and Border Protection helicopters flying over these farms. Many of these undocumented workers are working.
Were those the Aiden Ross viewers who wanted these jobs? Yeah, I love it when the fat porn addict slobs who consume conservative content online are like, you're taking good American jobs away. Meanwhile, these are people who would legitimately rather off themselves than work something half as difficult as a like farm job in rural Nebraska, you know? We've known this for decades. The reason undocumented people settle into these jobs is because American citizens don't want them. They're difficult jobs.
There. And now United Farm Workers, the labor union founded by Cesar Chavez in the 1960s to advocate for farm workers, is sounding the alarm. Joining us now from one of those fields in Ventura County is Roman Pinal. He is the National Vice President of United Farm Workers. Roman, it's great to have you with us to shine some light on this part of the story. Let's start with those videos. We've now...
Gosh, Stephen Miller's Jewish. I don't know if he's literally a Nazi. Got bros on day one of learning how politics works in the 21st century. Dog, the most popular Nazis in the world, like social media attention-wise, are a black rapper and a Mexican homosexual. Listen, okay. Look. I understand it's counterintuitive, but we live in a wacky, wacky world. Okay.
All seen online that we just showed our audience. What do you know about the ICE raids targeting field workers this week?
Well, what I know is that these raids need to stop. They need to stop. These kinds of tactics are no way to treat valuable members of our community.
Oh, by the way, I should make it clear. I have no sympathy for the farmers out here that exploit desperate, undocumented workers, that subject them to inhumane working conditions, that underpay them under the table, that often threaten them with ICE calls if they don't do their work. I have no care here for those farmers, okay? Trust me. I do think it's funny, though, that, like, Trump immediately, effortlessly took their side over all of the millions of, like, diehard racists in the administration and you know, voter base who absolutely do not want Pedro, like, picking their Romaine either.
No one should have to work in fear. And ironically, I'm here with a full crew of workers who are harvesting radishes. These radishes are going to end up at our grocery store shelves this weekend for all the Father's Day barbecues that are going to be happening around this country. And that contribution, that just having a beautiful celebration this weekend is not possible without the men and women, farm workers, who are doing this amazing work for us here in Ventura County today. So these videos are horrifying, and despite the fear, farm workers are doing their part to make sure that this country is fed and that we can proceed with our celebrations like this weekend.
It is such hard work that those workers are doing for all of us. How are your members feeling right now? Are they showing up for work, or are they too scared?
Yeah, just look over my shoulder, right? Like, they know that their job is important. They contribute to this country. They're valuable members of our society. And in the Southwest in particular, all over the country, when tacos are prepared, radish is going to be at the grocery store. That's the proof that our men and women in the fields are doing their part. They're showing up for work and contributing to the important agricultural economy. And they're doing it, unfortunately, right now in an environment of being targeted and being afraid. And that's not right. Farm workers deserve better. President Trump said he would go after criminals. I don't see any criminals here.
This is the inevitable end state of, like, a Trump presidency if it's not being wrangled by people like Miller, which is that the we're only going after dangerous criminals line just gets bounced between industries. It's like the farmers are like, not us, buddy, okay? We're contributing to America, okay? The criminals are elsewhere. And then the hospitality industry is like, no, listen, we have hardworking immigrants, okay? You need to go look at, like, food services. And food services is like, no, buddy, okay? We have hardworking line cooks here who are undocumented, who just deserve to live in America and live a dignified life, okay? You need to look elsewhere. You need to look at, like, garment manufacturing. And then the garment manufacturing industry is like, no. The undocumenteds are elsewhere, my friend. And it's literally just every month Trump announces, like, a new region of the economy is protected from ICE raids. He's really hopping on this too.
What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, you know, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, you know, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you know, you go into a farm and you look and people don't, they've been there for 20, 25 years.
That's crazy, dude. No way. Is that how that works? All Trump wants is the performative cruelty, not the efficient deportations. I am not joking when I say this. What Trump wants, or maybe he doesn't know that he wants this, but what he actually wants is to pantomime removing undocumented immigrants, but not actually. Like, if he could do this big show of arresting people, posing by a bunch of people in handcuffs, they get sent to the court, they get drummed out of the country, but then the next day they come back in and go back to working the exact same jobs they were in, that would be ideal. all of the theater of being the tough guy, anti-immigrant, Mr. Crackdown man or whatever. But in reality, it turns out it's actually quite like economically disruptive to be doing all this. He's like, Trump talks about every development like he learned about it yesterday. It turns out there are hardworking people. They've been farming for years. They haven't committed any crimes. We don't want to get rid of these people. It's like every time he's just like, I'm glad somebody had a conversation with you recently. That's great. Who knew healthcare was so hard? Yeah.
Years, and they've worked great, and the owner of the farm loves
Don't
them and
half-ass the
everything
voice.
else,
Yeah.
You're supposed to throw them out, and you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So
okay, I guess that's the rhetoric we're using here. If we deport the illegal immigrants working the farms, then they'll be replaced by MS-13 agents. So in reality, by not deporting the illegal immigrants working on the farms, we're protecting Americans from MS-13 radishes.
we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers, and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
Again, and the fact that he's soup-brained enough that he will just name the lobbying groups that talk to him. Leisure too. I know we haven't mentioned it, but Leisure too. I also had breakfast with a guy from like the sectoral lobbying group representing the hotel industry. He is very funny.
In California.
Peter?
Thank you, President Trump. I have two. First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure?
I believe we just saw
We're
this.
not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a...
It's really funny, man. Anyway, I am taking this as a win and a betrayal of the racists that make up a significant portion of both the Republican Party and voter base, you know? Well, racists represent like a overwhelming portion of the voter base and party. I would say people who are ideologically racist, people who prefer racism to other outcomes. There's a big difference between means and end-oriented racism. Big difference, okay? So we'll chalk this up in the ongoing battle on that one.